VARITY.
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 It's VARITY. Brought to you by Prodigy.
Good morning, planet Earth. You're listening to the VARITY Podcast, and I'm your host, Azeem from the IPRMSA UiTM Malacca chapter. As usual, we will have our special guest on every episode. So with us today is Aiman from UiTM's Law Faculty. Woo! Thank you for joining me into this podcast with title Hush Hush, Publicity Can Kill You. So Aiman, please introduce yourself because I'm sure the listener wants to know this week's guest. Who is Aiman? Okay, the floor is yours.
Hi guys, so my name is Muhammad Aiman. I'm a third year law student in UiTM Shah Alam. So today I am invited to give a talk on some topics. So I'm very interested to do that. And just one moment, I'm very honored to be here. This is my first time doing podcast and I'm so excited to do it. So yeah, I hope we will have a good time today. Woo.
Yeah, I hope we do.
I hope. Thank you, Azeem.
Alright, no problem. Okay, that's great, everyone. So, as you guys know, my background is public relation from UiTM Alor Gajah. So, let's go. Calling fresh graduates. Petronas are looking for young graduates to join the Petronas My Step Prodigy Graduate Employability Enhancement Scheme Program GEES, ranging from information technology, data analysis, data science, corporate communication, statistics, event management, business studies, administration, and management. This podcast is a series of IPRMSA UiTM Malacca chapter students discussing on lifestyle. In this episode, we will be discussing publicity from both perspectives on the good and bad sides of it. Plus, whether should we keep it low or just go overboard, go beyond. There are three main topics for today's episode, which are 1. Should we expose our work or lifestyle on social media? 2. Can we really be ourselves on social media or there is a limitation? And 3rd, ethics or money. So let's talk about should we expose our work or lifestyle on social media. So today we will be discussing our lifestyle in different fields on whether exposing our work or lifestyle on social media, whether it's bad or not. Okay, Aiman, let's take an example of Siti Byom's case, which her lawyer doing PR job regarding this case on her personal Twitter account.
Interesting topic. So, Siti Byom's case, a very highly controversial case in Malaysia, as we all know. So, regarding her lawyer, which is Ms. Hafizah Hassan, and on her actions on posting TikTok of dancing, posting the cross-examination facts on Twitter, on its media platform for everyone to see, I would say it is very, very unnecessary of her to do that. Because first, it will be called as sub judice. Sub judice means that a case that has not been settled yet by the court, but the facts have been released to the public, which
I see.
Which is very unprofessional of them to do that. So in this law industry, you actually cannot promote the firm, your firms, or even your work on the public.
You guys can do PR job.
Yeah, we can't do PR job.
I see. Okay.
It's a very distinctive difference point between PR and law. We cannot, as a law student and as a law learner myself, we actually cannot promote and we cannot do stuff just to gain publicity.
I see.
But on the advantage side of Hafizah Hassan is that she actually has earned publicity of herself and she actually has promoted her firm, which is probably good for her. But even though it's a bad publicity, it's still a publicity, right?
Exactly.
But actually, she has actually violated the code of ethics rule, which is not to promote the firm, not to, and not to post any confidential information regarding the case that she is handling right now on social media platform. And what she has said, what she has justified on that one, she said that she wanted to make the public see or actually Siti Biden is not that evil like what the public has portrayed. But the thing is, for me, is that you just need to settle the case first. Just need to prove that she is innocent, because there's a presumption of everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Exactly.
So what she did is actually very irrelevant and very unnecessary and as a law student myself, Miss Hafizah Hassan, you are very embarrassing. I'm
Yes,
so sorry.
she is.
What about you, Azeem? As a PR student, it's very different from law. So
Exactly.
what about you?
So we took an example of LRT case. We should tell the public what's going on with the situation. It is good for us to tell the public, and we really should tell the public.
Yeah.
And it is different with practitioner. You shouldn't tell until the case is done, right?
Yep.
For us, we should expose our work, but maybe not on your private account, but your company account. So the company you're working, the client you're working, you should tell everything about the current situation. You should explain to the public. That's what PR we are doing.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So like for PR purposes, it is actually very
It's fine unless it's not as long as it's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the point. Yeah.
like it is very beneficial for you guys to actually speak about the process of what you guys doing.
Yeah.
But for law is that in law industry, you actually let the firm settle everything. You don't need a public opinion on something. You don't need anyone's opinion. You just need your intelligence on settling the case. So Miss Hafizah Hassan, if you're listening to this, please take note.
Yeah. Yes, listen to that. Moving on, we will talk about whether can we really be ourselves on social media or there is limitation. Being ourselves is really important no matter wherever you are. However, is there any limitation on it? Like, should we stop or should we just go overboard? Like, give the best of the best, the crown of the crown. Yes. Okay, Aiman. So, what do you think regarding on this matter?
Well, as a student myself, I actually enjoy postings, writings, or tweets regarding whatever that I want to talk about at that moment, because we are students.
Exactly.
We are young.
Yes.
We are very outspoken with anything that we want to talk about.
For actually, to simplify it, we are Gen Z.
Yeah.
we tend to overexpose ourselves.
Right. But I do personally believe that we actually have to limit ourselves in posting anything on social media platforms, because it will affect our reputation. Doesn't matter if you're a student or if you're a worker, it will affect our reputation a lot if something's wrong happen. Let's take one example of when I was in foundation standard studies back then, when I was doing foundation. So there was like one person who is same batch as mine tweeted something on Twitter accusing that some of the lecturers in the foundation standard studies have done some nasty things towards the student.
Ooh.
Nasty, as I mean, for example, like sexual intercourse, or maybe do something
to that
worse.
point.
So that student has been tweeting a lot of that stuff, and unfortunately, there's like one lecturer, a law lecturer to be precise, that has taken an action, legal action towards the student. So imagine you're a student with, I'm assuming that they were not working at that time, and with no income of money, you get sued by the lecturer themselves, which is saddening to them. It's very burdening to them. They need to pay like legal fees and whatnot. So with that kind of consequences, it is very, very, very bad if you actually rant a lot on social media platform. You write something that is not beneficial towards you. I know it is our freedom of speech. It is our freedom of doing anything in social media platform, but you really need to behave yourself. You really need to think of what's the consequences, because maybe at that time when you tweet or you write those things, maybe it will not affect you at that time, but it will affect you in the future. Who knows, in 2 years or 3 years, people will see that tweet. What about you, Azeem? Do you have any kind of similar experience while doing PR?
Actually, it's not when I'm doing study PR. Actually, when I'm in Matrix, there's not quite similar case, but there's a case where this student ran on his Twitter account that this lecturer is stupid for doing something. And the lecturer knew about it, and the lecturer called him and asked for his apology, why he did that, why he tweeted about it. And the lecturer also asked him to make an open apology on his Twitter account. So for me myself, there's nothing wrong when you're gonna rant about it on social media. However, there's a limitation on it, because when I'm working, what if I tweeted same thing? Oh, my boss is this and that, and my boss knew about it. It could jeopardize my work. It could jeopardize, because
Exactly.
PR field is not that big. Everyone knows everyone. So once you're done, and you're done. So I think I should take the consequences if same thing happened to me. And like the topic itself, it should be a limitation. Just don't go overboard. Or if you want to rant something, just make a private Twitter account. Or there's this new thing on Twitter, which is the green circle,
The close friends feature. Yeah.
exactly, close friend feature. But however, you need to choose right people if you want to rant something about it. So I guess if you want to say anything on social media, there's always a limitation, and know the consequences. That's all.
Yeah, and behave yourself.
Yes.
Listeners, behave yourself.
Behave. Welcome to Doha. Malaysia Airlines introducing new route to Qatar. They fly daily starting this May 25th. Book your tickets now at malaysiaairlines.com and experience a world beyond in Qatar. Last but not least, we will be discussing on ethics or money. Okay, there is one controversial things happened on TikTok back in March. There's this one student doing part-time job as a content creator for this one restaurant. One day, she did a content promoting NFT for the restaurant on their account. As we know, NFT is bad for the environment. Unfortunately, she got backlash on her personal TikTok account for promoting NFT, which we could say publicity definitely can kill. So, what do you think, Aiman? Should we choose ethics or go for the money, especially when it's a good money?
I think nowadays, society defines value and success through the accumulation of assets and money that we have in our bank account, in our stock shares and whatnot. And a lack of ethics often does not stop us from generating a return. In fact, if you really want some hard cash, if you remove off all the unethical things in our mind, we can get a lot, regardless of other consequences, may even help you make more money. So, however, if we step back and remove ourselves from the consciousness from a moment and look at the bigger picture, we can see that doing business in unethical way will most likely result in value destruction over the long term.
Exactly.
Like, you might get away with it in the short term, but
true.
actions have consequences. For example, just like we discussed in the early of the podcast, which is about Hafizah Hassan, all of the things that she has done currently right now is a violation of code of ethics. However, she has gained bad publicity. She has gained maybe a few more customers on for her firm. So it does make you money, but it is not good to base on something that is very unethical to start with.
Exactly.
So and one of the example is that on how some politicians have stole some people's money in whatever country they in.
Exactly.
And
They are
just-
everywhere.
They are everywhere. Yeah, like, for example, if they buy some new random houses which cost like what, $10 million or something else, and steal people's money, that's actually a violation of code of ethics, which has affected people's life. So for me, I to want to be successful and maximize my wealth, I want a lot of money. I am willing to go to the extra mile and to achieve my goals. But question to that, we must have integrity, morals and ethics that will actually define who we are right now.
Exactly.
So why on earth would I sacrifice my code of ethics if I can get money with an ethical behavior?
Interesting point of view. However, for me myself, if someone, when I'm working, and then there's a client with us doing certain things, and it's violated code of ethics, I would do some research. I would ask people first. I would go back to my lecturer first. What should I do? Because the money is really good. Obviously, people wouldn't simply put just 500 ringgit. They would put million to it.
Right.
So for me, as long as it doesn't jeopardize myself, as long as it doesn't affect a lot of people, I would just go for the money. However, as like you said, it would affect a lot of people. Like those politicians, they do affect a lot of people. They do affect to the citizens. They just don't think about their citizens. They just think about their money, their cronies, we would say.
And the consequences will be handled by the citizens, which is
exactly
very sad.
Yes. The money didn't use wisely to the public, to the people. They just like use that money for themselves. So as long as it doesn't affect people, I would just like, okay, I'll take the money. I don't care.
We're good with that.
Yes, because I'm not someone who's come from the silver spoon family.
Yeah.
So for me myself, money is really important, and I need to survive. Especially people from the people from M40 background, B40 background, they need money. But however, when I'm working in my PR field, I would make a research first whether should I proceed with the task that given to me, or I'll just like go with code of ethics. Yeah, that's my point of view. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks, Aiman, for joining me today. Do you have any final words for our listeners?
Oh, before that, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me for today's podcast. It is my very first podcast, so I'm very honored to be here. And maybe we can do another podcast after this.
Oh, maybe.
Right. So, my final words towards the beautiful listeners out there, I would just say, you can do whatever you want in your life, but please think about its consequences, because things could go very wrong if you do something without thinking. That's all.
Yes, exactly. Because publicity is good, but you need to choose a good publicity
or bad publicity. Exactly.
Yes. You've reached the end of another episode of the VARITY Podcast with your host Azeem. I hope today's topic was beneficial to you. Thank you for listening. This podcast has been brought to you by our sponsor, Petronas and Malaysia Airlines. Subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, and don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at IPRMSE Melaka. Catch you on the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye guys.